Now please open your eyes. Today I was thinking of discussing with you about self-nature. You probably heard from many spiritual teachers, there are various perspectives of self-nature or inner self or various terminologies to a state of being that is the ultimate destination of our spiritual practice, is to realize our self-nature. There are mystical ways to describe it. There are spiritual way to describe it. There are Buddhist way to describe it. According to my sister in the Catholicism, there is Catholic way. They call it I think the Christian's nature or something. It's basically nature, our nature. So let's discuss this. Let's discuss this from a common sense point of view first, which is much easier to understand. As we all learn from school, the universe started with a big bang. It's just a big, powerful bang. And it developed into millions of parts. And after millions and millions of years, these parts start to interact and formulated galaxies and planets and Earth. And they continue to evolve and interact. And on Earth, there becomes living cells and rocks and mountains and trees and animals and us. So we all came from the Big Bang. Even though we may look different than a tree, we may behave different than a tiger, but we basically are from the same source. And then if we look at this Earth, I mean, one of the millions of planets from the Big Bang, what do we see? We see a mama bear would take care of a baby bear. We see a mama bird will feed a baby bird. And how did they learn that? Did they go to school? Somebody taught them, their parents? And if you throw a dog into the pond for the first time, it will learn how to swim by itself. All these instincts are really the nature of Earth. I can't say about universe, but it's basically the same. Where all these motherly instincts come from? That's an interesting question, isn't it? We didn't go to school, and I mean, these animals didn't go to school, and they always take care. And also, all the baby animals, if you watch enough YouTube, you will see small tigers, small dogs, small cats, and birds, they all play together. There's no discrimination. There's no fighting. Yeah. The second thing we learned from observing the universe is everything is in harmony. There's really no conflict in the universe. Where there's a mountain, there's not a lake. Where there is trees, and then there is grass, everything is in peace, in coexistence. It's all harmony, except it's cyclic. You know, spring, summer, winter, or fall. I remember that song. And we all birth and age and sick and die. It's all cyclic. It's just the way it is. That's the nature of things. Another nature. All trees look into the sun to live. Yeah? Of course, I mean, if you want to debate, there are, in the deep, deep sea, there are fishes that don't need the sun. But that's not what's on the surface of the earth, right? Yeah, of course. I mean, these are majority of the cases, not all the cases. We can only draw conclusions or summaries or comprehensions from majority of the cases to teach us, to make us realize, to awaken us from our limited knowledge and experience. In other words, our limited mind. The earth basically is in harmony, is loving, is looking up to the sun, and it's cyclic. So if we wanted to live a life according to the nature of the universe, I'm not talking about self-nature, I'm just talking about nature that we see and every day, we need to realize it's cyclic. I mean, we do get aged, you know, we do pass away, you know, accept it, accept that, you know. And we are naturally loving, and accept that. Don't discriminate this and hate that, don't like this. That's all your mental play. And we always look up to the sun. When we meditate, we see lights. When we look into the sun, we feel the energy, the happiness, the contentment. And we need to be harmonized with everything, with everyone around us, with every events, every form. No conflict. I mean, that's the way it was made. We're the creation, not the creator. And as the creator intended is for it to live a harmonized and loving and bright and cyclic life. That's the nature of the universe from a physics point of view. That's also our self-nature because it's embedded us. These elements, we don't need to learn. We don't need to go to school. It's always there. Yeah? Now let's talk about spiritual way of self-nature. The scripture says God is almighty, God is all powerful. How's that different from Big Bang? You may claim Big Bang has no love, but how come the creations such as bears and tigers and cats, they're full of love, created by Big Bang? Or you can argue, okay, it's not the Big Bang, it's God created them. I'm not going to argue with you about that. You know, if it's God created, God is all love, and then we should have all love. I mean, simple as that, right? So our nature is loving, is harmony. God created everybody. God really preferred no one over another. Everybody is equal. That's why when we reach Buddhahood, we say it's all equality and it's all awareness. It's pure awareness, pure equality. 正等正觉. That's Buddhahood. If you say, oh, Buddha is not God, but God is almighty, all powerful, Buddha is just a human being. But Buddha has all the quality of God. He has the nature of God. He lived based on God's creative purposes. And why do we want to be like Buddha? Is because we want to live according to the purpose of our creation. Whether it's by God or universe, it's basically the same. It's all loving, it's all harmonizing, it's all positive. I mean, the universe continues to provide air, water for us to live without asking anything in return. And Dr. Wendyer, sorry. Dr. Wendyer said, God is always continuously providing, creating, without asking anything in return. How is that different from the Big Bang? And since we are the creation of God, I mean, are we always providing, loving, creating, without asking in return? So attaining self-nature is really realizing the essence of our creation, realizing the natural abilities, qualities, features, purpose of our creation, of our own creation, of our birth. We have all these embedded in us before we were born, because it's in the Big Bang. It's in God's will. So, simplistically speaking, self-nature is just nature's essence. It's our spiritual essence. It's God's essence. So a lot of spiritual practice, saying that we meditate so that we can be one with the universe, or be one with the one. I mean, or we're Buddha inside, or we're God inside, or God is in you, or Buddha is in you. It just basically talk about the natural instinct, the natural abilities, the natural spiritual state that we have. Once you realize that, then the practice becomes relatively simple, right? Just quiet your judgment, quiet your selection process by your mind, and just become an all-loving person without judgment. I mean, see everybody just like you, because they're all creations from the same source. Whether it's a stone or a cat or a mouse or ants, they're no different from us. They're all creations. They may have a different journey. They may have different chemical composition. They may have different chi or different spiritual levels, but no different from us. So how do we enable to live a life that is self, that is based on self-nature, and let our self-nature lead the way? How do we do that? Stop thinking, stop judging, stop discrimination. It's easy. Or, according to Sifu's teaching, purification, wisdom, fulfillment, and and enlightenment. Purify our mind, purify our body. Why do we need to purify our body? Because if the body is unhealthy, we cannot resist or defeat its illnesses, its discomfort. So purify the body is the number one issue. We need to have a tip-top health, high energy level, high awareness. Then we know how to quiet our mind. So purification is the first step. Purify our body and then purify our mind. Our mind is filled with knowledges and experiences and hearsay, internet. Oh, especially these days, I notice my sons and daughters, they cannot live without Google. Wherever they do, they will consult Google. Google is their #1 consultant. Well, yeah, last night, my daughter is debating with me whether she should take chlorella or chlorophyll. And I said, chlorophyll is a chemical process. It's a processed food. Chlorella is the original algae. And you should take the original and don't take any artificial stuff. Well, finally this morning, she emailed to me. Oh, Google, Google agree with me. Oh boy, so as the universe continues to expand, the elements begin to disperse into more tiny speckles. And, or in other words, originally it was one big tree, it's one big bang. Then it become many branches and then many leaves, and then more branches and more leaves. Everything is further apart, further away from the original trunk. That's what civilization is. It creates more differences, more details, and away from the true nature of things, away from the true trunk of things. That's what all the spiritual teachers are worried about. We get so involved with, especially these days, on information and everything. People believe that whatever they read is God, the will. No, it's not what you get from Google. So, purification is the first step. We need to practice. And once you purify your body and mind, then you're going to gain wisdom. When you gain wisdom, you'll be able to reach fulfillment of your life's purposes. I mean, as I mentioned to you, sadly, that we were born with all these responsibilities as a son and a daughter and a husband and a father and a colleague and a neighbor. We can never get away from those. And those need to be fulfilled. Otherwise, the karma of unfulfillment will continue to hit you back. It's cause and effect. I mean, this is scientific. So that's why I always think hard time practice is very scientific. It can be explained whether from a physics point of view or from a spiritual point of view or from any point of view. It's very real. It's very basic. And then once we fulfilled all our duties and all our relationships, we harmonized our life. We become one of the creations, not the creator. We become one of the creations. So we no longer suffer. And then our spirit will be in sync with our self-nature. Then our spirit is in sync with God or the Big Bang, right? Yeah. So even though, Sifu have utilized these 4 phrases, purification, wisdom, fulfillment, enlightenment, actually the practice is rather simple. At each moment in our lives, all we have to do is stop thinking, analyzing, discriminating, judge. Forget about all the ideologies. Forget about all the beautiful mystical terms in your school. Just relax and feel the love arising from inside. Once you do that, once you feel the love arising from inside, once you feel the contentment arising from inside, then whatever you do, it will automatically become loving and harmonizing. That's all. There's a lot of skills. I mean, all these psychologists, they start to write how to love someone, how to express your love, what are some of the acts of love, and the 7 principles of love, a loving life. I mean, all that is not necessary. These are what we call attached to Dharma, attached to a method. There's really no method can cover all aspects. The practice of Hatsan is dealing with all aspects, not just part of the aspect. So therefore, no human created logic or method can cover all. Only our heart can, because heart is the foundation. Our heart has the potential, has the foundation for an all-loving life. That's our self-nature. Let me repeat. All-loving life. All, without exception. Well, these are my sharing for today. Anyone has any questions? If not, let's just meditate. And I would suggest let's meditate on our heart chakra, because that's where our self-nature is. Let's meditate just focusing on heart chakra. Feel its compassion, feel its loving kindness, feel its power, and feel it's in sync with the universe and its wisdom. It's all there, okay? We begin by sit up straight. Begin with belly breathing. And during the pause between your inhale and exhale, focus on your navel chakra. Navel chakra is 1.5 to 2 inches behind your belly button. Now, feel your navel chakra. During the pause between inhale and exhale, feel your navel chakra, which is 1.5 inches behind your belly button. You're going to feel its vibration or swellness. Today, its vibration is in sync with my Dharma eye chakra. Whatever chakra in sync with, just ignore that. That's just a physical response. Then you're going to feel your navel chakra becomes much more vibrant when it comes to vibration. It's more clear of its strength in propagation of the qi. You're going to find qi to fill up the abdomen, fill up the chest cavity and the abdomen. Going to travel up to our shoulders, down our arms, into our palms. You're going to feel your palms swelled up a little bit. Becomes a little bit warm. They travel to our forehead going to feel a little bit swelled up. Our temples, our face, our chin, all filled with qi. You're going to find our upper torso, including arms and chest and head, are all filled with qi. There's some tingling sensation of the qi flow. You may even see some lights coming through your Dharma eye chakra. As I mentioned, all plants, animals look toward the sun, look toward the light. You will notice the light that you saw from your Dharma chakra beginning to sink into your heart chakra. There is light in your heart chakra, becomes brighter and brighter. The heart chakra begins to warm up and becomes bright and bright. Let's continue to focus on heart chakra. The light from the heart chakra has emitted through our chest, over our body, into our Dharma eyes. You can just sense it. It's a very warm and loving light. It's like love. Now let's try to penetrate into this light. To reach Chanding. And practice at your own pace. No rush, no expectation. Just be an observer, a third party. Let the light guide you throughout the session.